DK,
We have the 47th best internet in the world.
it's literally, we're a minute in, and we've already ruined it.
Blooper reel.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the sultry second episode of the Mastour Debatours. Today I'm joined by three lovely gentlemen who I would say have pioneered the YSL movement. Now you might be asking, what the fuck is YSL? Well, I want to explore all things career mode on this freaking podcast. And this is a very, very specialized niche of the YouTube career mode community that I'm uber fascinated and I'm uber delighted to go ahead and bring on these three gentlemen. Often considered the godfather of the YSL movement. Cutzy, say hello to the people.
Hello.
Lovely. And Sparring DK, he's the man who came up with the 30 in 30 video right here. Say hello if you can.
How you going?
And a man who I've watched entirely too much of his tutorials on youth development and youth squads, Mr. Bama Striker himself.
How's it going?
The king of tutorials.
The king of tutorials.
Yeah.
All right, let's first start it off. Cutzy, a lot of people say that you're the guy. You're the guy who first started this off. Can you explain to a common person who only plays regular career mode in FIFA what YSL is?
Okay, so Youth Squad Legends is basically, you get a team, probably in the lower leagues, and you remove all their real players, so that's players with a face in the profile, in the player bio, or players without face, but you know that they're real. Get them out of the club, put your youth academy into business, bring up the youth academy players, and basically play with completely generated players from your youth academy. You can also bring in regens from other teams, but it basically spices it up. You don't know who's going to be good, who's going to be bad.
So basically, you cannot play with any of the pre-made players in FIFA.
No, of course you can have your own rule onto it, but that's probably the most famous example of Youth Squad Legends that we take out all the real players straight away.
Oh, okay. And you're allowed to have regens in there?
Yeah, you can, if you want, if you like.
Oh, and there's all types of...
Completely up to you.
I guess you can, and then you can go ahead and you can tweak, like, certain things. Sparring, what... Were you playing this type of game mode before Cutzy, or were you inspired by it? Did you see it on YouTube first?
No, I've generally played a youth style series for as long as I can remember on FIFA. I know on FIFA 11, I think I did one with... I did just the Premier League, like not going all the way back to League 2, like Cutzy sort of touched on there. But, you know, just building up that youth academy so you know that in 5 years' time when you're not just relying on those young gun players that you know eventually are going to get to that rating. You'd rather have your own crop that you've built from the ground up, and you just get way more attachment to those players. So that was how I did it. I went online onto YouTube and just looking for some tips and tricks and that sort of thing. Stumbled across Cutzy
and he's
and
gone. No.
DK is coming in from shitty Australian internet, so he's going to be spotting it and out.
Blame
hopefully.
the kangaroos.
Yeah, hopefully. But we basically got most of the gist of that. Bama, how did you come across YSL?
Very similar, actually. Back before even the youth players had faces, and now they have regenerated faces. But back in the day, it was just a silhouette. Mm-hmm. And what I was doing is I was doing a career mode, and I'd form a team. I called it the team of no faces. And so some of the players would be real because they had no faces.
That is a haunting name. That's a terrible.
Exactly.
Can you actually imagine like going up against a team that like they just didn't have faces? You'd be terrified.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be wonderful. So anyway, but that's what I did, and I remember I got a really good youth academy player. I think it was in FIFA 13, and I just Googled to try to find out if maybe I had the best one, and I typed in best youth academy player ever. And I became the 36th subscriber to Cutzy Gaming because he had already picked Domenico Piscopo after the first year in the free agent pile.
Episode 9 of the first ever Youth Squad Legends.
Yeah, and still to this day the best YSL player ever. but
Oh.
debatable
Ooh.
with Alexander Rosenberg. But the thing is, but that's the beauty of it. Now it's almost like a competition, and we talk amongst ourselves about like, oh, all the great players that we've all come across within our own career modes and everything, and the differences between the games, and it's cool. It's a really fun thing, and the difference between I think that and a regular career mode where everyone's trying to sign Neymar on a pre-contract after the second or whatever. Just the same old that you see in a regular career mode just never happens in YSL. Mine is completely different from Cutzy's and completely different from DK's and completely different from all the other guys out there that are doing it. And it's just a great community, and we get a lot of people send us tweets, say, look at my team, look at this player, and it's fun.
Yeah, that is what's incredible about your community is even though that I would say that unprofessional,
I am
Cutzy.
so sorry.
Unprofessional. I'm trying to run a fucking
bad.
podcast here. Your goddamn phone's going off.
I am so sorry.
No, but back to the point that I think that what's incredible and what fascinates me is even though you have a smaller community, arguably like the smallest community in career mode, you're also really tight knit. And you all since you're smaller, like you can be more in touch with your fans. And the connection that you guys have with your fans, I feel like is deeper than most of the big time or the bigger YouTubers or the bigger career mode guys. And I would say to you guys who don't know like what YSL is or like why you would care about a random guy named Rosenberg, for all you guys who complain about that career mode is stale, that career mode is the same every single year, and you're the guy who's only played with like your favorite team and bought the Neymars and bought the Ronaldos and like bought all the big name players and Embolos and all that stuff. This is a brand new way to play the game. It will absolutely redefine how to play career mode for yourself. And if you actually give it a shot, I think that you'll basically find like a really, really fun new way to play FIFA career mode, DLC free, which is, I think we can all agree, we would pretty much like.
A very, very
Absolutely.
good thing.
Yeah. But speaking of, pre-contracts and oversignings, I do want to touch upon last week, our point of discussion was MGH got a lot of flack for signing Embolo, though it is kind of debatable whether the signing Embolo was the one that kind of ticked people off. But basically on the topic of are there oversigned players in career mode, and should YouTubers, should big time YouTubers be kind of not sign those certain players because they are kind of oversigned? But we were having this discussion. I'll pose the question to all three of you guys. Besides myself and MGH, have you guys seen Embolo signed on anybody else's career mode? Can you name it?
No. For me, no. And to be honest, I think Embolo was a decent signing for a Bundesliga team.
Yeah, I felt the same. Yeah.
To be honest, Embolo's the one that's been flagged up most in the comments section. He sold two of Much. Is it Much and Gladbach that he's playing with?
Yeah.
So they've sold two influential centre backs, which is probably more concerning. But signing Embolo makes complete sense, in my opinion. And I think, is DK still there?
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So I don't really have a problem with that. It's just that because there are a limited amount of really good young players coming through in European clubs every single year, and there's more and more career modes popping up, the players are going to get signed eventually. Like some people are going to use certain players, and the community want to see kind of like the next Jamie Vardy instead of just like going, because we have got a massive community now and everybody plays with the big players. I think what they want now is for someone to go, look, I've seen this player play in like League One. We have the training feature now, so we can smash up these like overalls of these players. I've seen this player play in League One for, try and think of Crew Alexandra. He's a decent player, but his potential is only about 70. But I think he'll make it. Bang. Then, in 9 months' time, he actually does make it. He does do something ridiculously good. And people are like, wow, that is amazing. That could make your whole season. that you're finding that player. You're an actual scout working in a YouTube sense. It's just that's what I think the community is gradually going to. Instead of we've got so FIFA, we know where the potentials are going on these players, and to me, that's basically what I think.
I tell you who I think does it. I tell you who I think who does a really good job on career mode stuff, and it's Docklanders. And Docklanders kind of has the attitude of, well, just because other people have used it, doesn't mean I'm not going to use it. He tries not to use the same players within the different series that he does. So if he signed Embolo in one series, he's not going to sign him necessarily in the next series he does. And he's constantly trying to bring in new guys, and I think he does a pretty good job of that. But yeah, you're right. There's definitely other YouTubers and other career modes, and I think that's what makes it stale so quickly is that you can just the very first day that the new FIFA game comes out, you can find out who are the players that are going to have the highest potentials, and you already know which ones to scout, and it just defeats the purpose of the game, which again is why the youth genre that we do is so entertaining for us. And it's just, unfortunately, it's a small niche, and you're right, there's a much smaller fan base, but the people that do watch it, they love it, they really enjoy it, and they like going out and playing their own and creating it on their own as well.
Yeah, so you guys know that training has kind of redefined what you can kind of do in career mode this year. And you guys all bring up really interesting points about, Embolo, I think for a lot of people that were upset about it was just a lazy signing. Like, we all know that Embolo was good. Even though we might not have seen him, like, for a person of MGH's stature, we expect something spectacular, something that we can't do on our own. And what Cutzy's saying, I think, is actually really interesting because you can do that now. You can make someone as good as Embolo that isn't Embolo.
Easy.
You can take Rashford right now. You train him up like hell. You can still loan out glitch in this game, so their potential gets to 90.
Yeah,
so you can
that's very true.
You can take all of these players that have a potential, as long as they have a potential of like 75, you can get them to a 90 if you're patient enough. So it doesn't necessarily mean, maybe that's like not realistic, but who would have said the same thing about Jamie Vardy?
Yeah,
so
that's the thing. Like, if maybe people say it's not realistic straight away, this is the potential bomb that you have, because if you do what I've basically proposed, and it doesn't work at all, and this player is just a complete flop, people will be like, this guy has no idea what he's going about. But if you find one player, just the one player who just explodes, just smashes one team, like scores 4 in a match, or just does something spectacular as a youngster.
Well, you only have to look at
Go on, DK.
I was just going to say my Road to the World Cup Australia last year, where I did the youth series, but I put a twist on it, and I actually kept Billy Knott from Bradford City as the captain for the entire series, and he only got to 72, I think, overall, but he played like a 90. Just with that youth squad built around him, he was just the cornerstone of that team, and mate, for a real player, which is something I don't normally get attached to, he was just amazing for me in FIFA 15.
I had a similar experience with a player at Plymouth. It was a live stream series I did in FIFA 14. It was a lad called Tyler Harvey, and he played as a forward. And he scored an overhead kick. It was a wonderful goal. And he was the best player that I'd got in the team. And I was like, this kid is wonderful. And it was a sad moment when I had to eventually let him go.
Yeah, one little tip people don't know is DK actually sent Billy Knott a pair of his underwear, and as a fan, so that he would get it signed. And
is that true? Are you fucking with me?
Wow. I didn't even know that.
He still hasn't sent them back though. He followed me on Twitter for a day.
Wow.
Oh dear.
This is the thing. When you are running these youth style series, you do get that attachment to whether generally not a real player. Generally, it's one of these youth players or a regen that you get attached to, and you only have to look at Piscopo or Rosenberg Tom Evans this year in the Yeovil series.
Tom Evans.
They sort of start building a storyline, and you can sort of get an attachment, even though it's not a real player. You have your comment section just gets filled with just comments about players that, unless you've done that specific career mode, that player wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So here's my question about this. For a person like you guys are all referencing like Rosenberg and various other players that honestly, like I would only know because I've checked out your series. For a person, you could argue like the reason why like other career mode YouTubers like get bigger is because they sign the big name players. You know what I'm saying? Like they have the Neymars and the Messis guilty on their thumbnails, and that's what brings them in. For a person who likes it for, I guess, like more the big name players, how do you try to bring them in? Or how do you make YSL more digestible to them? Like explain it in like, you got like a minute or something in your opening, like how do you bring them in?
Do you want to say something, DK?
I guess it really comes down to, one, the niche market that we do have. Generally guys that do follow a youth series generally stick with it. Like I've got guys that are commenting that have been on my channel since it sort of started up, and that sort of came, a lot of those guys have come over from making friends with these two lads, these two gorgeous gentlemen, and a few of their fan base have come across, and then they've stuck with me as well. So I mean, if it's something that you're actually looking for, it's easy enough to instantly get a love and attachment for this kind of things, because what we do try is, some of our episodes might be a bit longer than a standard career mode, but it's just so that we can tell the story, and that allows you into a player a lot better. So if you can generally get that storyline across, and develop it as the series goes along. People that are watching the series, they may even only come in 20 or 30 episodes along, but instantly they'll be able to get an attachment to a certain player. So I guess that's probably the easiest way to bring people in. Initially, it's more word of mouth and smashing Twitter, and just really putting yourself out there.
That is a very interesting thing. A point that you came up with. Do all you guys do storylines with like certain players, or do you build up like all the storylines of all your players, or just like the ones that do well? Or is like Sparring DK, are you the one who does more of the storylines? I think
Cutzy does probably more storyline stuff.
Right, so what happens with me is that basically I just do the career mode episodes, upload them, and basically, if I see a very funny comment just about a backstory or just what a guy does in his spare time, usually pick it up, put it in one of the episodes, and then the storyline just develops, flourishes naturally from being nothing at all. I mean, obviously, these guys are just not real, and they could turn out to be terrible. They could turn out to be unbelievable. Actually, to be fair, the people who are terrible, like we're talking really bad, probably have better storylines than the ones that are really good. Vitty.
Yeah.
There was a lad called Chavez in FIFA 14 that just could not hit the target.
But these guys, so all these guys that are on your squad, for people who don't know, you're bringing them up from like the doldrums. Like when they get into your squad, they're like 50, 40s, right?
Yeah.
And you have no idea, like, if they're going to turn out to be, the next Ronaldo, or just an absolute, like, a technical genius that has zero physical stats.
Yeah.
Like,
Tom Dyer.
yeah, so, like, you guys, but I think it's amazing that, like, I can name these, and then you guys are just naming just, like, a player, and you all know who that is.
Yeah.
Like, I have no clue. As if it was like, oh, yeah, that's Ronaldo. Yeah, it was like, oh, yeah, that's John Joe Shelby. I would say for you guys who don't know, Bama, I'm going to get you in on this one. What's the biggest challenge of growing these youth squad players?
Well, it's the biggest thing is the physical growth, and it really started a couple years ago, and then last year we kind of figured out that if you added the players before they got a May bump, and that kind of that phrase became popular, then you could
tell
actually
the people who might not know what a May bump is.
Sure. Well, in FIFA 15, while your players were in the youth academy, if you added a player in September, for example, if you did not add that player to your team before the 1st of May, then that player would get an artificial bump, and we called it the May bump, and it would occur on May 1st, and then their rating would go up, and it'd be like, wow, that guy went from a 59 to 72, but his physical would be stunted for the rest of his career and just would not grow. Now, ultimately, eventually, EA actually did patch that. It was near the very end of FIFA 15. They did patch it so that players' physical stats would grow, but for the longest part of the year, it didn't happen. This year, it's a little different because of the training aspect, and a lot of people want to start training players right away. But what you can actually do is you can overtrain them and stunt their physical growth, whatever natural physical growth they're supposed to have.
Can you believe it?
Yep. And so they put something in the game that's supposed to be really cool and unique, but it actually can be detrimental to your youth academy players' growth in particular.
So how do you know if you're, and this is, are you training them while they're in your academy, or this is while you're on your team?
No, usually what we do now is, and trust me, we all three of us tested ad nauseum.
These are the hours and hours and hours.
All these different things that we did offline that no one saw, that we tested, and we'd Skype and we'd talk to each other about, and then all of a sudden, it became clear that certain patterns were emerging. But what we do now is we don't train the players while they're in the academy at all. And what you do is you want to monitor and see if they're growing in physical stats. They will actually grow while they're in your academy, but then once they turn 17 or 18, you add them into your club, and then you want to monitor their growth at that point as well. And then you have a couple options. Either you can leave them in your club and allow them to grow in physical stats until you're comfortable with those physical stats, and then you begin to train them, or you can send them out. You can actually sell them to another club. And the May bump still exists, but it only exists for CPU-controlled teams. And so you send them to another team, the player gets a May bump, including physical growth, and then you bring them back. My best player, my best player within my Wigan series is a Russian striker named Emil Nakimov. And the dude has 98 acceleration, 96 sprint speed. He's a beast, and he's a 92 overall player. And so that was all from doing all those different things that we discovered.
And that's an amazing name for a Russian striker.
Yeah.
What was it, Emil Nakimov?
Emil Nakimov.
There are so many great names.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
the other two.
I basically, from nowhere, I got myself a catchphrase by just going, great name! Because there are so many funny names. I mean, someone actually tweeted out and said, look at this Chinese forward, and he was called Bang Wang.
Yeah.
And there's freaking the Brazilian names, they always get me. But the Emil Nakimov, it sounds like a gun you would get in Call of Duty. Like, it sounds like a sniper rifle that you would get. That's freaking like bananas. And it was like, I would say, and I might actually go ahead and put this in the intro, guys. For you guys who might not be about this YSL life, like, listen to this podcast and check these guys out, because if you want to learn everything that is possible to know about training and about youth development and your youth academy, these guys, ad nauseum, as they've said already, have tested, and they know everything it is about to bring up and create the best young players. If you want a youth squad playing your team that can hit up the upwards of like a 92, to have like beasts, like I don't even know, like, just absolutely, some of the guys that I've seen you guys create are just disgusting. Just like 90s and almost all the stats, like 90, some like 99 long shots and 99 like sprint speed with like 87 strength. It's just absolutely like diabolical. Like, Cutzy will throw up like gifs on freaking Twitter of him absolutely like abusing a whole entire defense, and it's just like, who the heck is this guy? And there's no way you can get that player. Like, even Ronaldo and Messi can't reach those heights. So if you want possibly the best players that you can get in career mode, watch these guys and watch what they do. and like go ahead and check them out and listen to this podcast maybe, as they'll be giving you a couple more tips to go ahead.
It's the forefront of innovation.
Hashtag who is Ross Ball?
That was a good pitch, right? That was a good pitch for you guys. Yeah, that's what I was asking you guys. Like, why do you think, or do you even think that YSL or Youth Squad Legends is better than a normal career mode?
Absolutely.
Yes, hands down.
Yeah, it's much better. Can I tell you the history of how I got to a stage where I went plunged in feet first?
Yeah,
And,
do it. Go balls deep.
All right, so
get that product placement Coke Zero in there.
Yeah, FIFA 07. Where it's nearly 10 years back now, lads. Calm down. FIFA 07. This was my 7th installment of FIFA. So I'm going way back. My history of this game is way back. But in FIFA, one of the best games, FIFA 07, you could create your own club. You could put them into League 2. The only problem with putting a created club in League 2 is that no one really had an identity in that. You could throw like 23 players into your new club. But you thought to yourself, well, these guys already are in clubs at the moment. We should actually buy them. The right thing is to buy them. So what I used to do with, like, I think I had one called Sheffield FC. I had one called Sponge City. I know.
Is that a real place?
Pardon? No.
Real place?
Really, Sponge City.
I want to live there.
I'm not from the UK. Like, I get shit all the time. It's like, oh, it's an actual real place. Like, what? That spelling doesn't make any sense.
There probably is like
the
a little village called Sponge.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past you. But continue. I'm sorry.
So, yeah, FIFA 07, there just was a little There is fireworks going on outside. It is the 15th of April. I am so sorry. So, if you can hear that in the background, I do apologise. If you've got a new club, no one really has an identity. The club doesn't have an identity. So you really want to start building something instead of, like, hiring hands from throughout the world. So I decided, well, we'll just use the scouts. They had a really bizarre scouting system back then, but it worked. And from then on, there's been different variations of this scouting nonsense. The one that we've got now is a decent system. It's the best one that EA have implemented so far. And FIFA 13, they were one person doing youth academy stuff, and that is Avinio Football. Now, he wasn't doing a career mode series. He was just telling you tutorials like Barmer does. So I went on, and I had 3 months of YouTube before doing Youth Squad Legends, and I gained a total of 50 subscribers. Yes, out of 3 months. And then the first couple of Youth Squad Legends episodes comes out, and it just exploded because, like, no one were doing it. In terms of why people found me, I think it's because, like, no one else was doing it at the moment. Why people are finding me now, though, is through these two guys. The community needs to be tight-knit. If it succeeds, it needs to be tight-knit because these two people that I'm sharing the Skype call with, and of course you, these two guys, DK and Barmer, will help the community grow in general, because someone might find a DK video and then go, oh, what is this? And one might find a Barmer tutorial and go, oh, what is this? The community has to be close.
Oh, I thought the other way that you were going to say that people are finding me is from your internet beef that you start with people on Twitter.
Pardon?
I thought the other way was like the other way that people were gonna find me is your internet beef that you start with people on Twitter. But that's a different beef. That's a different story. You could go ahead check out Cutzy's Twitter if you want to see a little bit.
That is entertainment.
Yeah, if you want another type of entertainment, you could go check out the drama alert that is Cutzy on Twitter. But yeah, that's really interesting, and I think it gives also like that whole story of like 50 subs in 3 months. I think all of us can all attest that like for everyone who's out there who's starting out YouTube, nothing is ever going to be harder than that first 100 subs. Nothing. Can you all agree?
Amen.
Oh yeah, it was a
Easy.
big deal hitting 100 subs.
Even though right now with YouTube deleting subs, I'm about to explode. I get so angry at that.
So it's been okay. So that's another topic that I guess we can touch up on is YouTube deleting subs recently. How do you like? It's been going on for about like the past week. It started off because it's such a dick tease because freaking. It started off with them just giving all of us like a huge bump in subs one day, and we were like, everybody. We probably went on your Skype chat or what you guys got together. It's like, hey man, I got a big amount, and it's like, oh yeah, I got a big amount today too. And then you go, oh no, and then you realize that something terrible has happened if everybody is getting it. And then, yeah, lo and behold, by the end of the day, they strip away, and some people even had like less subs than they started the day with, because they've just been. I'm guessing I'm not an expert on this, but they've been taking away inactive subs.
Yeah.
Recently, do you guys know more about this?
Yeah, it's just the deletion of inactive subs, which I mean makes sense, but they're not actually giving back the usernames that the inactive subs used. I guess that would be the whole like advantage of deleting subs in the first place, that you get the old usernames back. But from what I know right now, they haven't given back the usernames. I actually didn't mind it at the start, because at the start it was like, right, okay, inactive subs, they're not going to mean much anyway because viewer retention will be the same, viewership will be the same. The people who go to watch my videos will still go and watch my videos, and that is the reason, as content creators, money comes to us. That is it. Views. It's not subscribers. It is just views. So that's no problem. However, it got to a stage last night. Last night really ticked me off, because we went from 19,071 back down to exactly the same number that I started the day with. As just motivation, that completely just kills you, and it's a kicking gut, basically. It leaves you winded.
Yeah, it's almost like it's now to the point where it's just like, I'm not gonna check Social Blade until the end of the day, because it's point. Yeah, it's just basically, it really is like a dick tease. It's just like you have you have it right in front of you, and then they just take it out from under your feet. So it is a bit of a ball kick. What about you guys, Bama or DK? How do you guys feel about this recent development? Do you guys not mind it as much, or what?
I really haven't noticed it as much. I mean, I don't know. I mean, a little bit, but you know, I've done okay in growth lately. It's been all right, but I never really noticed that big jump either in subscribers that everybody referred to on Twitter. I remember that day, and I was like, and I went and checked, and mine was pretty much, I mean, it went up a little bit, but it was just normal everyday growth, I'd say. And then the next day they got knocked down or whatever, and people were complaining, and mine just kind of were the same. So I don't know.
Maybe you've just been unaffected by all this.
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I
got
just
them
complained.
actives. You got them actives running around your channel.
I guess, but I don't know. But you know, I mean, that's the thing when I look at like the percentage of views compared to videos, like, and that's one thing Cutzy does a great job of. You know, you look at any YouTuber and you see, okay, well, they got 10 million subs, but then, you know, only 50,000 people or 50,000 views. Well, Cutzy, for example, has got great subscriber to viewer ratio.
Yeah,
and so
it's viewer retention.
Yeah, and DK does too. I'm probably behind both of them in that. But their quality is better. Both of their quality is a lot better than mine. And so that's why I think that they have better viewer retention, is that people, when they find their channel, they're entertained, they got great stories, you know, they get into the content. It's new to most people that come onto the channels, and then they enjoy it and they stick with them.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good stuff. I never really thought about like the storyline of like YSL and how that could be awesome appeal, because there's only so many storylines. You're like, well, Neymar's here now and he's scoring a lot of goals. Yeah. Maybe he gets homesick once in a while because the weather's bad, or he doesn't like the food, and then he scores more goals and then you pay him more money. Like there's only so much that you could do. Like, because everybody knows. Yeah, go on.
Let me tell you though, and that's part of the subscriber interaction. I think that the youth series allows for higher subscriber interaction than really any other career mode, because like Cutzy made a comment about, Jamie Moore Taylor being bored.
Jamie
so give us some backstory on like what, who,
Jamie
and
Moore
what is
Taylor
Jamie?
James Taylor was a left back for his Burton team last year, and who's actually the manager of the Yeovil series that he's doing this time. Well, he made a comment about Jamie Moore Taylor being boring. Well, next thing you know, we're on Twitter all commenting about it, making jokes about it, and DK's like, "Oh, Jamie Moore Taylor and his flavorless jam."
Yes.
So next thing you know, the story just grows, and so. And then we do the YSC, the U Squad Cup final, and I'm sitting there I'm doing the commentary between these two. Me and Stu are doing the commentary between these two as they play, and I talk about how James Taylor's the most boring man in the world. And so one little comment that Cutzy made creates this whole separate storyline that the community and the subscribers and even us other YouTubers are able to carry on and just develop. And that happens with a lot of different characters. Troy Kone with DK, we kind of had a long running joke that he wound up populating an entire country because he was just like a man whore.
Yeah.
And just stupid stuff.
Mate, he's that good.
And
that's pretty incredible.
I tell you what, if you don't know what the U Squad Cup is, obviously, there was a glitch back in FIFA 15 that allowed you to play your career mode team against someone else's career mode team. It's a long-winded process, but they have patched it eventually, and that's probably because we kind of shined a light on it, and we apologise for that very much, because it honestly...
It was so much fun.
It was so much fun, and I mean, like, even there were stories to get from just playing with each other, like playing with each other. That's not what it actually sounds like.
Hey man, from San Francisco, if that's what you're about, that's what you're about, dude.
So DK's Newport County against my Burton Albion, the best battle that I have ever witnessed. Pennington against Kone. Oh my day! Right, Pennington was this like really hard-hitting centre back with no physical stats, and this is probably why we did so many tests this year, because we didn't want another Pennington, because Pennington was brilliant. But
like, give us like when you're talking about these players, give us like a glimpse into their stats.
So really good defender. He actually became like more of a midfielder actually with his stats, technical wise. But that's you'll probably notice that if you actually bring up a youth academy defender this year as well, that they get decent technical stats, even though you'd only expect standing tackle, marking, slide tackle to go up. So yeah, he's probably like 85 standing tackle, 80, about 80, 85 at the point of us doing this online tournament. And Kone was about in the same boat. Would you say he wasn't growing that much in physicals, was he?
He was a little bit quicker, though. I think he was quicker, but he wasn't as strong. He was actually the Didier Drogba regen. And he could just take on a defense, slip through, and then with his speed I think he's 6'2", 6'3", would just go through. He scored over 80 goals in a season.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a lot of goals. But Pennington.
But every time he came against Pennington, it was just
had him in his pocket.
If Kone could get past Pennington, he would score every day of the week. But to get past Pennington was just like trying to take on the Great Wall of China.
Yeah, like people say to me, "Oh, Pennington's not really that much of a good defender." And if you look at his stats, his physicals, I mean, he only had about 57 strength this. This is why we were like, oh, what if Pennington had more? More physicals, more speed, more strength. The strength was a big hindrance. However, in the career mode, he was absolutely fine. In the online tournament, the final itself, Pennington dominates Kone like a 95 overall defending. We're talking like the best defender of all time, and it's things like that. The player might not be great stat-wise. Rosenberg had a really awful potential, and Rosenberg's one of the higher mighty gods that YSL has ever produced. But he had a really poor potential, but because of what he did in the first 2 seasons of the series that he was in, people really liked him, and eventually we got that long glitch sorted, and he became an absolute legend.
Like, what was his his overall rating by like the end of the series?
His overall rating by the end of the series was 89, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
His long shots were. These guys can really basically tell you, because like they faced him.
I saw those highlights, yeah. And he was just banging in long shots from pretty much the halfway line. It was filthy.
To come up against Burton, you'd have to play 2 CDMs and have them both man-marking Rosenberg.
Yeah.
If you let him in any space, it didn't matter what forwards or anyone who was around, Rosenberg was always the threat. But then, obviously, having 2 men trying to control one player just opens up gaps everywhere else for Burton. And you have the likes of Gui and Matip just rolling through and just snapping you in half.
2 men controlling another man just opens up gaps, indeed.
Yeah, the funniest thing for me to play against these two is that you know that they are going after Rosenberg. I really want to take a long shot with him, but sometimes I used to just twist it and go, I'm going to slip in Matip, and Rosenberg would just play like the killer ball, like just there you go, no problem, in goal. It was so much fun, and I'm so upset that FIFA hasn't got that glitch anymore, and they should really listen to us, because that was just absolutely amazing. And forget about online career mode, just basically a career mode head-to-head. That would just be amazing.
And I was like, what I want to stress is that what we've been kind of touching on throughout this conversation is that these players, like, because of FIFA, because we're such an educated fan base now, you would never play a center back with 57 strength.
Exactly.
Like, you would never take a look at that guy. Or if a guy had 70, like, low potential, you would never give that kid a shot, because, like, why? Why even bother when there are, like, the incredible Iannachos and Embolos and Tielemans of the world? Why even bother with this kid? But because you're kind of put into, like, you guys were given, I wouldn't say lemons, but in this situation, you threw away all the good fruit, and then you just have these lemons, and you guys made lemonade out of it, essentially. And I would say that, like, yeah, I wish they really could just let you play, like, your career mode team up against another person's, like, career mode team. Like, the only time I can remember it is, and EA allowed this in certain other games, is, like, you had to play on the same console, though. Is you could play in Madden, you could play someone else's career mode team versus your own career mode team. But
well, that just shows how much emphasis is on Ultimate Team, because it's really harmless for us to go play each other in a YSC type format, but it harms Ultimate Team, because if people enjoy that and people want to start playing that, then they're going to not want to go play the best online career mode for FIFA, which is Ultimate Team. And then, they want people out there buying packs. And so that's the threat, and that's the problem. And trust me, I didn't see anyone else do a YSC on YouTube. So the fact that they were able to patch it, they had to have seen our YSC. Yeah. They had to have seen it, and they had to have known to go in and then patch it. Because there's been all sorts of other things that they haven't patched that were really harmless in career mode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this is why I'm saying we need DLC in career mode, guys.
Yeah.
Like, we bitch and moan about DLC, but if you can create a new revenue stream that is coming from career mode, that's the only way EA is really going to pay attention to it. Sadly.
Well, Either that or competition, and that's the unfortunate thing is there's no competition for.
Oh,
it,
piss.
Yeah.
Give me that sweet $2 boot pack.
It's gonna happen,
So-
man. They're gonna put legends in career mode. It's only a matter of time.
You think?
Yeah, they're doing it already in other career modes. Like 2K does it. 2K does it. Madden does it. Madden's owned by the same company, EA, and they make buttloads of money, like bringing in Hall of Fame NFL players. So they're already in the game for Ultimate Team. It doesn't even take all that much money to like port that player over.
Ah, fuck it. I'm going to do a 191 draft. I'll be back later.
But
Bullshit.
speaking on like the YouTube on behalf of YouTube, I want to talk a little bit about something that came up in our prep to this. Is what is your opinion, as YouTubers, when you started out on swearing, and has it changed with your time on YouTube?
Yeah.
Let's say we'll save DK last. Bama, have you ever been that much of a swearer on
No,
the YouTubes?
my channel's pretty clean, and I've got kids. I'm an old man compared to these guys, and so I've got I'm mid-30s, and I've got children, and
You're mid-30s? You sound like
Yeah.
you're like 70. Like
thanks,
it's
buddy.
like you have a
Appreciate
deep
that.
like I would listen to you read me a bedtime story is it's a compliment. Like that's how deep
bedtime
and
stories.
deep and smooth your voice is.
Yeah,
I can see a new
appreciate it.
channel direction.
Yeah, Bomber's bedtime stories has to happen now, Bomber.
Just do ASMR videos. Hey man, you know that the top video producer in the world now, the one that gets the most views, is just like that girl who just opens up Disney toys.
Yeah,
Those are her hands, and apparently like her voice is just like cracked to babies. So Bama, if you ever, I'm saying.
All right.
That's
Well,
it.
anyway,
I listen to
I
that
don't
every night.
I don't cuss at all, really. I think I've said one cuss word on my channel that like actually made the final cut. Now I get angry. I
Oh
get mad,
yes, I know what you're talking
but
about. Yeah.
I get plenty mad and I rage at the game, but I've kind of honed it back in, and so anyway.
Okay, Cutzy, how you feel about fucking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I swore a lot when I started, and it was probably because I didn't know how to commentate correctly. Instead of saying I used to swear because that was better than saying And then as we moved on to the end of FIFA 13, and I started like improving as a commentator, and actually listening to subscribers saying, maybe you got to cut out the swearing a little bit, it slowly started fading away. And when I actually listen to my old episodes, I'm quite horrified of how much I swore. But I mean, like, it didn't really distract that many subscribers, to be honest. The viewers were still pretty solid, and only a few complained, but try to listen to everybody and try to take everything on board. DK! I can't wait for this!
Go for it.
Yeah, I couldn't give two shits about whether I swear or not. I actually did a survey a couple of weeks ago, and I had 109 responses. And one of the questions was, does the fact I swear irritate you? Now, I had 86.9% say, no, fucking tell it how it is, and only 13% that said, yes, please keep it clean. So, unfortunately, I have no filter when I commentate. It's just game on, balls deep, and anything that comes out of my mouth, I'm more than happy to leave on my channel. And I guess that just comes across as a good bogan Australian that people like to watch. I mean, the thing that does disturb me a little bit about that is when I look at, I put out a question of how old are you for people watching my channel, and 66% of those people are under 20, 33% are 16 and under. So they're probably learning some colourful language just by watching my channel.
Yeah.
But you know what? Fuck it.
And I think I think there goes to a point where it's like, how much do you compromise and that you sacrifice authenticity? And I feel like the people that go to your channel appreciate like the swearing. And let's be honest, like when we were all 13, we cuss like we heard all the cuss words and we all heard like the naughty words. The only thing for me that like kind of affected me, because I grew up in this is America's LA and San Francisco. I grew up in a very PC culture, but I still swore like a sailor and whatever. And I was like, well, fuck it. Freedom of speech. Like, I could say fuck or shit or cock, whatever I want. I was like, and if you don't like it, you don't got to watch it. And then, like, a dad commented on me, and he said, it was like, hey, I don't mind if you swear, but it's my son that watches you, and, like, I don't want, like, him. Well, I don't want to explain, like, these bad words to him. I appreciate your content, but I wish you could tone it down a little. I was like, fuck. I can't fight that guy because he's just trying to be a good dad. Like, damn it. So for that, like, I started to turn it down a little bit, but it comes to the point of, like, you're never going to make everyone happy. Like,
No,
it's at the end of the day, you have to make content that you feel is good, that you appreciate, that you are proud of, and it's gonna piss people off. Like, and I always have a segment. I don't know if any of you guys have actually brought like the worst comment that have been said to you guys, but if you can think you guys have. Yes. If you guys can think of the worst comment that has ever been said to you in a YouTube section, I think this is a good segue time to go ahead and do it up.
Before we get into it, can I just say, in fact, you know what? Forget what I was about. No, I know what I was about to say. Even though we are small YouTubers, congratulations, by the way, on reaching 10,000, Nathan.
Oh, thank you. You know my name.
It's on the Skype, mate.
Oh shit! Oh, I was like, damn, he went so far. He learned my real name. Wow, it was like it's on there. It's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, like, even though we are little drops in the massive pond that is FIFA career mode, FIFA in general, there are one or two people that watch our videos more than they watch anybody else's. And if we are swearing, then it will rub off on them. And if it actually gets into their vocabulary, big word for Curtis, calm down. Then we are responsible for them having bad language, and for that was a part of my brain that was like, I am not comfortable in making people swear. So,
I don't give a shit.
And then that's DK's response.
Yeah, but I think it's like they are impressionable at that young age of like the 16, the 12 to 16. But you know, that's like let's be honest. I myself, I was a fucking dickhead. You know, I was a fucking dickhead at that age, regardless of you know, you seek out the content that you kind of want to seek out, and it's up to them. Like when they get of age, either they're gonna be a dickhead or they're not gonna be a dickhead. Like. Yeah, like life will, I think, like straighten them out.
Let's just put this out there. When I was young and impressionable, the greatest movie of all time, Al Pacino in Scarface.
Oh, whoa.
Okay?
Yes.
So, you know,
that explains
13,
a lot.
14, watching Scarface, ends up with you saying, fuck the haters.
Well, there you go, Cutzy. At least... like, you're not making Scarface, so, you know...
Oh, that's very true.
Yeah, although that's kind of a detriment, too. Hopefully you
Surely
make
someone
the
would be knocking on the door if you're racking up lines in a YouTube video.
That would be incredible. I think you guys should go ahead and make one of the storylines, one of your guys. If any of them is ever named Montana, like, you got to do that. If he's from... Wait, where is he from? Is he from Colombia or Cuba in that movie? I apologize, I haven't seen Scarface since forever. Yeah,
Cuba.
For Cuba. Oh, you guys got to start scouting in Cuba. Is all I'm saying. If you can, I don't think you can.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can. I don't think you can.
Scout Cuba. No.
That's something else that they need to improve, the amount of countries, because I'd like to scout Wales and try and find myself a new Ryan Giggs. Thank you very much. EA.
You can't scout Wales?
You can't scout Wales.
No.
That makes
his face. It's disappointment right there.
Yep.
Disappointment indeed. All right, but let's go on. Let's move on to speaking of bad language. What is the worst comment that you guys have ever received? It doesn't. You don't have to or just like the gist of it? Who wants to go first?
I'm not going first because mine is an essay, and there's not actually bad language in it. It's just
Oh,
how much time and effort you put into something.
is it
That
from Tony?
no, I tell you
Oh,
what, that's
We
another
all
really.
got essays from
oh,
Tony.
Wait,
No,
who is?
there was a
All right,
lad
tell me
called
the legend
Tony.
of Tony. Who is this Tony character?
All right, this guy Tony, he for some reason decided to attack all of our channel. Look, DK cut out, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway,
He was too
would
disgusted, so he had to just end the call.
No, I think he's just
Yeah.
taking a moment to get himself together in order for him to come back at Tony right here. He's like, hold on.
But yeah, Tony was he for some reason decided that he needed to critique every single thing. Like we should do our series exactly how he's telling us to do it. Like he had no concept of the fact that this was our channel and this was our series, and if I wanted to do it a certain way, then I'm going to do it that way. But he just would write these essays, and it got to the point where we all had to just remove him from the channel. We would not let him comment on the channel anymore because it was just so bad. But anyway,
His reasoning was that he was a filmmaker with a Red Epic camera. He was nominated for a few film awards. So I tell you what, I wish that I was around. Well, I was at this stage now when he commented on my channel because I recently won a Royal Television Society Award. And I just look at his little nominations here, there, and everywhere, and I'd be like,
It's the petty things in life that that keep you going.
It is.
Well,
I can tell you my worst comment. I mean, one guy, honestly, it wasn't even that long ago, but I was really doing poorly in the game, and I had like a week time period where I hardly ever won in the series that I was doing. And one guy posted a comment and said, "You are the most boring YouTuber I've ever seen."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow, thanks." So,
the whole reason why you on YouTube is to make people entertained, and for someone to say that
one cuts
yeah,
deep.
exactly. I mean, it hurt. Yeah, but I mean, the thing was, I mean, I was mad at the game. I was scoring goals, and we were losing all the time, and it was just so. And yeah, the content. Looking back on it, he was right. Honestly, it was boring. So.
I tell you what, though, but if you keep it clean, going back to the keep it clean or swear thing, if you keep it clean, the rages cannot be as hilarious. My old rages were absolutely epic. I try and keep myself calm in these new ones because trying to stay calm actually improves the way I play anyway. And you have to fully well, not in the new patch. I think the new patch is actually weakened the AI slightly. But around December time, you had to concentrate fully on the game.
Yeah,
and
I think I play better drunk.
because you were more relaxed. You were more relaxed, and that's the reason why I couldn't let myself go as much as I'd probably want to, simply because I had to win or draw a game to do something with the team.
Yeah, there definitely is like a certain like mindset, almost like a. It's like that. I look at it like that scene from X-Men First Class when Magneto is like controlling the satellite. And he's like, you need to find that place in between serenity and rage in order for you to play. It was like, just be Magneto, just be Michael Fassbender in this moment when you're playing FIFA. DK, what do you think is the worst comment that you've ever received?
I don't know, because I'm considerably smaller, I don't actually get a lot of hate, so it's not too bad for me. I mean, I got a few things, like obviously I put my straw poll out and asked people what the worst thing about my channel was, just to try and get a little bit feedback. But nothing really brutal. I mean, people get annoyed where you whine and complain about the game and that sort of thing, but generally, you know, I've only got 2,700 subscribers, so you're not going to get a lot of haters in that amount.
No, you
unless
don't.
they're coming out for the fight.
And I feel like if with your guys who are being so tight knit and being so connected in with your fan base, that I don't think like the trolls aren't looking up YSL. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
That's a weird thing to go and troll. Like, that's super niche to go ahead and troll. All right.
And if they go up against one, they're going to go up against an army.
Exactly, because of how tight knit we are, it is actually quite a difficult thing to crack.
And I would say, I think on the Tony thing, I'm assuming that Tony was a subscriber to all your guys' channels. They say that, like, since you guys are so tight-knit, that after a while of watching, like, certain people's content, they gain a feeling of ownership over your content. And that's where, like, you can get backlash. Like, large channels experience this, like PewDiePie and them experience it when, like, their fan base is so used to a certain type of content that they feel the ownership over it and that it shouldn't change and that it should go along what they think that it should be. And I think this Anthony kid took it to like another level about like this is how it should be because he felt the ownership over your guys' series.
The one that really the point that really bothered me was he thought that he was better than us because like he was making films in Hollywood, and it was like, mate, stop it. Like we're just basically doing what we want to do. We're doing what we love. Like, if he was a well-respected Hollywood movie and he saw my, like, university project and might have given me a few pointers on that, maybe I would have taken it on board, but Hollywood films and YouTube are so different.
Yeah.
We are talking miles apart, so your opinion is completely invalid.
Yeah. Totally get you. And on that, what is the worst comment that you've ever received, Cutzy?
Prepare. This could take all podcast.
Bama, I know you need to go, so if you need to go right now.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to go right now. I'll let Cutzy finish it up, but I appreciate you guys letting me participate in the podcast.
All right, guys, before Bama leaves, do you want to go ahead and plug... Oh, by the way, guys, I forgot to mention this, but at any time, go ahead and click on the beautiful faces on everyone on the screen. I'll leave annotations up there to their channels to go ahead and subscribe. Check them out, guys. It is a brand new world. It is an Aladdin song and more. Go ahead and check them out. And like, I know it's a little bit hefty to get through, like, what the heck is, YSL, but give it a chance. It's a slow burn. I often look at you guys, like, the difference between you guys is, like, for me, we're kind of like the big tentpole movies and that kind of stuff of, like, Marvel or whatever, but you guys are that slow burn thriller, the more of the Inception, the more character-driven movies out there. Like, if you give it a chance, like, it's better, like, it's something else. But Bama, what's going on your channel right now?
Well, I'm wrapping up the Wiggins series, which was the main series that we started out. That'll probably be ending here pretty soon. I got a live stream crew mode series going on, another youth series with Zurich. I got a Seattle Sounders series that's youth-based as well. But as soon as the Wiggins series is up, I'm starting a new one. It's called The Phenom, and it's based off of a glitch that we actually discovered not too long ago, which allows accelerated growth within the youth academy. And I have a 19-year-old center midfielder from Germany, and he's 92 rated.
What? Have you guys dropped this yet? Have you guys dropped this on the YouTube community yet? Oh my!
No, I've
got another series.
World debut news, guys! Breaking news right here on the Mastour Debatours podcast.
So if you subscribe to the channel, then it'll probably be coming out in the next couple weeks, and it should be really interesting. But yeah, that's it. I do appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off and let you guys wrap it up. All right, guys. I'll see y'all later. Bye.
See you in a bit, Bottomo.
Bye, man.
All right, Cutzy, hit us with the legend.
Before we like continue onwards, anybody who's like going to come to our channels and experience YSL like for the first time, I really do suggest that you view a first episode of one series. Like, the first episode really sets things off nicely, and you get more of a sense or more of an understanding what actually YSL is, instead of maybe dropping on like episode 53 and having no clue what is going on.
Yeah, definitely. I would suggest go ahead, watch episode 1 to kind of get a better bearing on that. But carry on, Cutzy, with this legacy that you're about to drop on us.
Oh, I've got some news, right? Okay, and I've hinted. Well, I've not hinted. I've made like a thumbnail on Twitter, and I posted it. Everybody really liked it, and it's called Bankrupt Bournemouth. And basically, with the glitches that we've actually found, and actually using a glitch that we'd seen on a different channel as well, that you can actually save and continue the game at the same time, I've been able to basically completely refresh the Bournemouth team within 1 month, release all the players, because we knew how to release every single player instead of limit of 2 per year. So completely remove the Bournemouth squad and bring in players of like 40 overall. There's one centre mid at like 36, and I'm going to try and survive the Premier League just like Docklander's Saving Bray, which was an absolutely brilliant series. Absolutely stunning. And that shows you that you don't need to be signing the message and the thing to have a really successful career mode, because Docs smashed it out the park with Bray Wanderers.
Yeah, Docs is better than I am. I'll say that much. But let's go ahead and get on to your, what is the worst comment that you have ever experienced?
Oh my, I don't know if I'm actually going to read all of it, because when I say it's an essay, I actually do mean it's an essay. It is 7 paragraphs long. It must have taken this guy at least an hour and a half. And it's all about one man called Alexander Rosenberg, the long shot master. Like, the stats that this kid had is ridiculous. And if you want to go ahead and have a look at the stats, have a look at the stats. I think the long shot stat of this kid is like 90.
Go ahead. Just send me an image, and I'll go ahead. I'll post his stats up on the screen right now.
Yeah,
so
I'll sort that out. Yeah, I'll sort that out. So yeah, his long shot stats absolutely ridiculous, and I'm smashing goals in. Sometimes I'm hitting shots that don't necessarily like hit the target at all. I just cut them out of the episode. What's the point? I've seen like really failed shots, but most of the time Alexander Rosenberg put them on target, and because of the quality of the goalkeepers, most of the ones on target went in. A phenomenal rate of goals were scored, and I can understand why people question. Like, if people didn't have a player like this, I can understand why they would question the
validity.
Yeah, of my series.
Mm-hmm.
But I showed them the sliders. From, I think, episode 50. I pointed them out at one stage. It was completely above board, that series. But people wouldn't have it. I'm still smashing in goals left, right, and centre with Rosenberg. And the last Rosenberg video, this comment pops up. This is well before FIFA. Sorry, this is well after FIFA 15 had finished, and it is 7 sentences long. And at one point, he says, "Yes, I have seen the video. Cutzy doesn't use sliders. Deal with it," which shows a single shot and video evidence that there aren't any sliders in play. The video's out there. Although I don't believe we see the difficulty of the game, which you do. I mean, every single part of this comment is completely to drag the channel down. It's to say, look, what you're seeing on screen is completely fake, which, I mean, let's be honest, YouTube as a platform is one of the fakest things that I've seen in media. I mean, like,
Prank videos.
Yeah, exactly. Like, some media outlets kind of block information from you, but in terms of actually trying to make you believe what is actually not happening, YouTube is an absolute king, because what television actually made was a complete, trustworthy, honest media source, and what YouTube is developing is not trustworthy whatsoever. So stuff like this is really detrimental, even though it's just one guy's opinion, and a lot of people got on his back for this. It's just the fact that someone got to the point where he had to write up 7 paragraphs, and I'll send you this because
7 paragraphs. You said 7 sentences earlier.
no, paragraphs.
Holy shit!
Yeah, paragraphs.
I was already impressed by the sentences.
Yeah, no, honestly, mate, I will send you the 2 pictures that I've got. It was so big
Here,
that
I'll
my
put it on the screen.
1080p monitor could not fit the whole thing on, so I had to screenshot it twice. I'll send it put it on whilst we're talking about this because I don't want to I don't want to actually read all this. There's a part where he talks about that no other streamers or YouTubers hit long shots like this, which I can understand. Like, I didn't see that many long shots, even though the keepers were atrocious in every way. But like we've been talking about, most YouTubers just play with normal players, and they might have better keepers in the net. Simple as, because they're going straight to the top level, and you've got the Neuers, the De Geas, the Llorises of this world straight in the top level.
Yeah.
Well, when we're going into the Premier League, we're already 5 years into it, so maybe actually, it's not maybe. Most of the keepers have either moved on, moved on, retired, gone down in stats, and they've had to bring in a new keeper. What's probably less rated, because there was another problem with FIFA 15 that teams actually deteriorated through seasons, which you probably understand why they only limit it to 15 years, because it's the same now with FIFA 16 that actual overalls of each team goes down slowly by year, and by 2030 you'd be dominating a league. But yeah, it's the fact that I didn't do anything wrong. I actually showed the sliders, and he was still going at it. There's one point, and I have to sift through this whilst I'm talking to you.
You can find it. I would say to this point of that, I've seen Chani put up the sliders. I've seen a couple of people put up the sliders. Personally, in my opinion, I think it's best to just never put up the sliders and never address it. Because, let's say, even if people are going to yell at you, in the comment section below, about, oh, these long shots are fake, and all that stuff, by dignifying that, you also, you're not going to convince him by showing your sliders.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
All these people that are hating, they have this idea in their head, and if you go ahead and you validate them by saying, I'm not a cheater, here are the sliders and whatnot, you give them fuel. You validate them in thinking that, oh, he must have faked that. He used, Photoshop or some type of he just cut them together. Because people can do that. And it was just don't dignify them, to be honest.
This is probably why I cause so much Twitter beef, because I just can't let things go. I've tried my best. It's just part of my personality, my stubborn personality. And whether or not it actually, really ruins my YouTube career at some stage, it might actually do, but I can't find exactly where this part is in the whole essay that I'm trying to read through. But he points out, how are we to believe that Rosenberg can do an overhead kick from 35 yards out and smash it into the top corner? There were two goals like that he'd scored. Absolutely outrageous goals. I've never scored anything like that ever before. One was a simple overhead, and one was the advanced rainbow flick. No, sorry, the rainbow flicks, not overhead. Did I say overhead?
It technically goes over your head, so.
Apologies. Yeah, rainbow flicks. However, both rainbow flicks were scored online. One was against DK.
Yes.
And the actual, we weren't recording our reactions to it, but that in part is the reason why we won head-to-head online career modes back, because you can't even think about what that reaction was. I ran out the room. I'm just going crazy in the hallway, like, oh, I've just got the greatest goal. And then he ends up scoring another one against one of my subs, Lorenzo. And it's like, there's no sliders online, mate. Calm down. Calm your tits. There is nothing wrong with this.
Yeah, and that goes to that's what I'm telling you, man. It's just like, one, we're not
Leave
gonna,
it out.
We're not gonna make everyone happy, and two, there's a lot of dumb people in the world, and you don't need to be wasting your time talking with dumb people. You know what I'm saying?
I try, like, obviously this guy's viewed me, so you're not dumb, mate, but I completely disagree with what you're thinking. It can't be dumb, mate. You should see this paragraph. I mean, this essay.
Oh, it's probably going to be on the screen right now, yeah.
It's like, sentenced correctly. It's got, like...
So you thought this out to the completion.
Yeah, it's a really good read, but it's completely wrong.
I mean, to be fair, at the end of the day, the Rosenberg legacy is that from most career modes that I have watched, no one was taking those long shots. Everyone plays the same way, crosses into the box, or dash pass with a striker and get past your goalkeeper. And you see one incredible player just dropping them in from the penthouse, and it's just like, it just inspires you to start having a go in your own career mode series. I want to see if I can do this. And 9 times out of 10, you can't. And that's where the hate comes from.
Yeah, man. Like, I was watching that, and I was thinking, like, this is fucking unreal, the shots that this guy is putting in from distance. But for me, I had the suspension of disbelief, because I know what you guys are about. You're about U-Squad, and you guys know about growing players to the max. So I was like, okay, like, I'm never going to be able to do that with, like, Ronaldo, but you could probably do that with a crazy player that was rated, like, 90 when he was 20. So, like, it made sense. It made sense to me.
And that's the other thing, like... Yeah, you guys do a career mode, but honestly, how long is your career mode? Generally 2-3 seasons, and that's pretty much game over.
Mm-hmm.
So you really only have 3 years. You're building an incredible team in career mode of real players, and you're not really getting a feel of how they gel together as a team. Whereas when you do a YSL and you're starting off in League 2 and all these youth players are coming in, and you start feeling... guys can play and they gel and you just really know your team back to front on what they're capable of. Whereas, you know Messi's good, but unless you play 3, 4, 5 seasons with him, which he's going to deteriorate by the end of it anyway, you're not going to get that full appreciation of what a kind of player he actually is that you do get out of a YSL series.
In defence, I've done a Youth Squad Legends with Man United this season. And I actually started with real players and try and, like, build, like, youngsters into the team slowly, like a normal career mode. But with that Youth Squad Legends Twitter, in fact, to be fair, most career mode YouTubers eventually bring in regens and whatnot. I was going back to, like, the early days. The first ever Youth Squad Legends series started with, like, real players as well. So, like, yeah, why not? But for this reason, I brought in some really good players, and they somehow never gelled. They just never gelled. And, like, you had Yeovil Town coming into the Premier League with, like, a much worse side, but, like, smashing teams left, right, and centre, whilst Man United's got Lukaku, Lewandowski, Xhaka in the middle. I can't remember. John Stones at centre-back, and they were just not doing it. And I tell you what, that was like the best feeling that I had on career mode. Just doing a normal career mode simply because, like, it wasn't going right. And it's been so watered down into the fact that you can go on FIFA, you can get these players, and your team will be good. But that team wasn't good. That team looked good, never played well. And it was actually being held together by a regen that I played on the left, right wing. That was it. Marchetti, yeah. And it made me really enjoy playing, but I mean, like, the Yeovil Town save was just going from strength to strength. So there you go.
Yeah. So I feel like that really just encapsulates it, man. It's just if you complain about the way that career mode is, if you're sick or you think that career mode gets stale, or if you think that like it's not all that interesting, I just buy this player and go buy overalls, try this out. Check out YSL. It'll change everything, man, and give it a chance and try playing it. Don't just watch it. Go ahead, try playing it, and it will reinvigorate your love for FIFA. I want to say thank you to you guys for coming on. I think this has been an absolutely wonderful time to have you guys on. Probably have you guys on again sometime in the future. Now go ahead, plug away. What is this insanity you guys are talking about? You guys have discovered a new glitch where you can get a player up to 90 by the age of 19. Is this true?
That's Barmer's new series. He's gone ahead and it probably. I think I was speaking to him the other day. It's taken him something like over 30 hours of simulation and playing with this little glitch just to set up the career mode. So he's the one. That's his. It's his series.
It's the same glitch. It's the same glitch that I'm using for the Bournemouth one that just basically repopulate. Like actually, just like kind of goes forward in time without actually going forward in time. It's time travel, basically.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
You got a time travel career mode.
To be fair,
yeah.
Someone else found it out, and I will link it to you because we shouldn't take credit for the actual glitch that was found out. I'll also link you to Barmer's tutorial on actually how to train players unlimitedly. Is that a word?
Unlimitedly. Unlimited training.
Yeah. So I'll link you to that because like we've taken that glitch that this kid has found, which is amazing because I'd never even try this because it's just like stupid. It could corrupt your save, you moron. But it worked, and then Barmer took it to the there were a couple of comments saying, I think you can actually do unlimited training here, and then Barmer did a video on it, of course, because he is the tutorial king. So yeah, I'll throw you all them.
Okay, yeah, and all those links will be down below. We'll go ahead and check out. Remember, click on Bama's face, and now that he's not here, I'll put it over in the corner over here, so you can go ahead and click on him for all his tutorials. DK, what is going on your channel right now?
We're just wrapping up the Notts County and the Journey series. I'm just touching on that quickly. I mean, the joy of a YSL is that you can try and take it to the next level. You can do this with your own career mode. If you're getting stale and bored of the game, the tools are there for you to create something ultimately unique. You only have to look at Dox's Bray Wanderers series, look at the Journeyman series. That's something that I haven't seen before. And if you set yourself, a couple of stipulations, a few challenges to try and do in your own career mode, that is the joy of expanding the horizons of the game and the longevity for a complete season. So we've got Notts County. We're into the final season of that. We're going to be taking on the Champions League. The Journeyman series, well, that's probably a bit in depth to explain, but there's I do set up videos, so you can go in there. There's a minute and a half to 2 minutes. Just sit down, watch that, and you'll get an understanding of what the series is. I've got a lot of guys that have just come to my channel for the Journeyman series, and they're trying it at home. They're letting me know on Twitter how they're going, and it's just creating a whole community, just expanding on Cutzy's wonderful YSL series. Then I've actually got 2 more career mode series coming once these are done. But I'm not going to let you know what they are here.
The ideas are insane.
I have shared it with the lads, but that well under wraps. So one of them I have done before on the channel. That is the Relegation Regen Rebuild series, which is just another twist on YSL where I take a top club, basically get rid of all of their players and drop them back into the lowest division possible and try and rebuild them from scratch with youth players. I did it last year with Arsenal, which is a bit of fun. So that will be coming back because we did get a bit of good feedback on that. And then I've got something else, but that's under lock and key, something you've never, ever seen before anywhere.
That face, yeah.
It's coming.
Zoom in on the face.
And I'm working on it tirelessly in the background. I do need to wrap up these first 2 series first before we get there. But this Sunday coming. I'm not sure when the podcast is going to out, but the first video is going to drop, and that will be picking the managers for our next 2.
Oh, this will probably drop in a little bit afterwards. So go ahead, check it out. The first episode will be out by the time this is out. So go ahead, we'll link it. Click on DK's beautiful face right now. Go ahead and check that out. Cutzy, what is going on your channel?
We're just basically ploughing along in the Yeovil Youth Squad Legends. But honestly, lads, it'd be great if you had a look at my channel, and hopefully you're a big fan of what I do. But really, as plugging goes, I would like DK and Bomber to get more attention. So yeah, it'd be great if you checked out my channel, but go and give them guys a little bit more love. All right.
And can I just say, even though you're on BMOS's channel and you might have come here to watch the podcast with us in it, make sure you subscribe to BMOS's channel.
Yeah.
He's got some quality content as well.
Thank you guys so much. And I would say, to give it back to you, like, I've been on Bama's channel. If you want to learn anything about growing your youth squad players, check out Bama Sparring. Like, I've only recently met you, but you've been incredible in your 30 for 30 series, as well as like the originality that you're coming out with. You're taking YSL and you're taking it to new levels, and I always appreciate creativity and originality on this channel. And of course, guys, I feel like a lot of the people that are on my channel are Manchester United fans. Look, there's a Man United. You could see it in the background right there. There's a license plate right there. Cutzy's a huge Man United fan.
There's actually, you know what? I'll take this webcam off because there's like Man United like
all over the
place.
He's been a Manchester United fan way longer than me, a better Manchester United than I am. He kind of took me to task on Twitter one time when I said that Drinkwater was the only guy in the England squad right now. I totally forgot Welbeck was on the English side right now. But yeah, thank you guys for dropping by, especially DK, who had to wake up. How early did I have to freaking wake up for this?
4:30 a.m.
Oh God! So yeah, if anyone subscribed to DK, because he had to wake up at 4:30 in the morning.
That's incredible, by the way.
Incredible.
He's only done that so I don't have to record this at midnight, which is what a sacrifice by the man in sunglasses.
Yes.
Anything for the father.
But anyway, yeah, if you want to know how much of a Man United fan I was, 99 Champions League final, we're losing 1-0 against Bayern Munich. I'm going to have to sit up a bit because like I've completely repositioned my webcam like absolutely terribly. But yeah, 99 Champions League final, we're losing 1-0 against Bayern Munich, and as a 7-year-old, I'm going upstairs and I'm crying on my bed, only for my grandfather to go at in the living room. Me dash down and see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's winning goal that I've got right there. One of the pictures, lovely.
And on that note, guys, we're gonna go ahead and conclude this second episode of the Mastour Debatours podcast. Guys, go ahead, click on their beautiful faces, check out all the links below. Thank you for dropping by. If you did enjoy, go ahead, leave a like. And I'll see you guys maybe next week. All right, later, guys.